Wondering what the experts think about that. Bob Sturm, Bad Radio, welcome to the show.
Tony, how's it going?
Andy Moog, great to have you here. President of the Brahmas, goalie coach for the Canucks, right?
That's right.
Welcome to the show.
My pleasure, thank you.
So what do you guys think about this deal with ABC basically sliding the Stars, the defending Stanley Cup champs, saying they may want, I mean, this isn't official, but they're saying they probably want Detroit for Saturday's game.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't surprise anyone, really. I mean, the fact is Detroit's the national draw, despite the fact Dallas is the Stanley Cup champs. It's a slap in the face, but I don't know if it's anything new to anybody who follows hockey down here. I mean, it's the regular thing that we see.
I know as a player, you had to be very political when people ask you, whom would you rather play? But let's face it, the Stars fans here are curious about which team matches up better for Dallas. Certainly, Detroit's pacing seems like they would much prefer to play against Colorado. What do you think about this next series?
Well, I think they'd like to get against San Jose. I think that'd be the ultimate choice. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I think that'd be the ultimate choice. They've had some real tough games against the Avalanche this year, and Avalanche young players are really contributing, and that might be a factor in the series. Yeah,
talent-wise, I mean, Tony, it was a real close series last year, and Colorado can obviously play with the Stars. I think a lot of us remember last spring as, oh, you got by the Avalanche, no problem. Not quite the case. I mean, it was a Game 7. Remember, they were up 3-2 going back to Denver. The Stars really had to find a lot inside them to get that Game 6 win. And, yeah, I think they would prefer San Jose, but I don't think either series at this point of the playoffs is a treat. I mean, it's going to be a war no matter who you get once you get into the second round of the playoffs.
No matter who it is, that coach of the Stars is going to be on those guys mercilessly. I mean, Hitch is he's on these guys night and day, isn't he?
Yeah, I think the players get issued earplugs around November, and they just stick them in there until the end.
We only say that for the benefit of Coach Hitchcock, who joins us now from somewhere, I guess, in North Dallas. Coach, how you doing?
Pretty good.
So you riding these guys pretty hard?
That sounds like Moger there.
It is. He's on with the show with us.
Yeah, he had the earplugs in September.
So do you like this much time off or not? I mean, it seems like a couple days is good, 3 days, but this could be almost 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, this is probably a little too long for everybody's liking. I think not starting until Friday is you know, a little bit long, but you know, it does buy time for Zubov and Lettinen, which is critical for us if we're going to win this next series.
As far as the matchups, Coach, you know, Avalanche, obviously, talent-wise, probably have the bigger stars and the bigger resumes in the NHL, but we've seen all season, and even in past years, San Jose has that same gritty, tough style that can drive you guys nuts from time to time, right?
Well, I think they're just they're two opposite teams. They both present real tough challenges for us, but you can't really prepare right now other than just our own game because San Jose plays a pinching game and Colorado plays a patient game. The difficulty with Colorado is they have 5 or 6 players that can beat you one-on-one, so you're always on edge because you know that they're one play away from tying a game up or winning it. So that's always an uncomfortable feeling. But I think both teams, Colorado and Dallas, have a lot of things similar. Great goaltending, 4 really good defensemen, 2 top center icemen, and you know, I think that the matchup would be excellent. As far as San Jose goes, they've really had our number this year, and they present a different challenge in that before you can even think about, you know, the matchups or anything, you have to get your emotional level so high to play that team. That's the first struggle that has to be brought about by everybody.
Were you surprised at the way the Sharks blew up yesterday?
Yeah, I think we were surprised by the way they blew up, but it was interesting because that was the first series where they had bad luck rather than good luck. They could have scored 3 goals in the first period alone, and that was the first time things went a little bit south. And I guess if you're going to lose, you might as well lose big so that you can drop it, and sometimes being embarrassed is the best motivator around.
Coach Hitchcock, we were here with Bob Sturm and Andy Moog, and we have a call from Paul in Arlington who has a question for one of the 3 of you. Paul, you're on Sports Talk. Go ahead.
My worry is playing against San Jose. If you go up against them, they're dirty players. What if they take out someone like Madonna in like a 6-game series, takes him out for the next round? Don't that concern you?
Well, I mean, a lot of people think that we're no day at the beach either. So, you know, I think that we can more than handle our own. I think we have one of the most physical teams left in the playoffs, and I think we can. The physical side of things doesn't bother us at all. As a matter of fact, I think our team plays. The more physical the series, the better our team plays. And I don't see that the nastiness of a series turning anybody off. Mike has, in the last couple of years, got used to that type of activity, and I think his abrasiveness, and I think when you go after him physically, he even gets more motivated. So I don't see Modano having a problem with that at all. I mean, it's going to be difficult, but he's fought through a lot more, and he'll continue to fight through a lot more than that.
You have any sort of a take on Game 7? I guess common sense says St. Louis, but they might have got by so easy yesterday. They must think it's all over except for the final result, and maybe San Jose can squeeze in and make that a pretty entertaining game. Well,
I think it's really up to the goaltender. I think that the goaltender in San Jose really took him out of the series, that sixth game, and I think if he can give him a solid first period, then Game 7s are just the most unique thing in sport for me, anyways. That you're on edge the whole game, and you never know what's going to happen, and I think if their goaltender shows them that he means business, then San Jose, they match up real well, and they match up against everybody. And if Shields just plays solid, then they still got a chance.
One more call for Coach Ken Hitchcock or for Andy Moog. Danny in Dallas, you're on Sports Talk. The show is yours. Go ahead.
Actually, I wanted to ask Sturm a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Sturm, love your work on the ticket, by the way. Who do you think that the Stars should be more worried about facing? Colorado with a really hot Patrick Waugh, or San Jose with players like Owen Nolan, Ricci, and Mortar Forker?
I'd say for the most part Colorado. Waugh and Sakic and Forsberg, they're the players. And, San Jose's got a nice team, but I think, obviously, star-wise, the matchups, you probably avoid Colorado if you could to some extent, but you're not scared of anybody.
Coach, Woody Page, a writer in Denver for the Denver Post, said today that the Stars, and I'm quoting here, are more afraid of the Avs. Is that just a good writer getting in a good column?
I don't even know. Does he even cover hockey, that fella? I mean,
he's a football writer, isn't he?
This time of year he does.
I don't think. I mean, we know how to win, and nobody. We're not afraid of anybody. I mean, they present a different challenge, but we're not afraid of anybody, and we've beat that team before, and we know how difficult it's going to be. They're on a mission a little bit with Bork, and we're just going to have to be on a stronger mission. But as far as fear, that kind of left us a long time ago.
Any final words for Andy Moog before you go have your nice dinner tonight?
Well, I wonder how he likes that ownership level. He looks like he's a guy that's fit well into the ownership level. I'm sure. I thought I'd see his name come up in that negotiation there with the Pepsi Center and all the stuff going on with in Denver there. I thought with all the millions that he's made, he'd be right up there.
You got me confused with somebody, Hitch. Sorry. I am enjoying it, though. Thank you.
Good.
Coach, thanks a lot, and good luck to you in this next series. It should be a lot of fun.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right. See you later. We'll continue here on Sports Talk with Andy Moog and Bob Sturm and take your calls and emails as Sports Talk continues. Stay right there.
Does your wife sleep in the nude?
Actually, she prefers flannel.
Little Bo Peep has lost her sheep.
Leave them alone and they'll come home.
If I'd known you were coming, I would have made you a cake.
Are you the baker?
No, but I've got hot buns. I think you'll find page 73 very interesting.
Read it, learn from it.
See you next week.
Don't let it fall into the wrong hands. The Industry Standard, your weekly intelligence report on the internet economy.
The 2000 Ford Mustang. Up front, it has an adrenaline-pumping 260-horse V8. Underneath, it has an aggressive road-hugging suspension. What's really impressive, however, is what the 2000 Ford Mustang has behind it. 35 years of legendary pony car heritage. Oh, and another thing Mustang has behind it, the competition. To get 2.9 financing and $500 cash back or $1,000 cash back on Mustang, get to your Texas Ford dealer, home of the best in Texas.
A little extra batting practice.
The powerful Boston Red Sox visit the ballpark tonight through Wednesday. As busy as I am and as often as I travel, the last thing I want to worry about is my travel plans. When I use Jim's Travel Inc., I don't have to worry about anything, nothing. And knowing that anytime, 24/7, that if I do have a problem, if there's a plane delay, if there's a change, heck, he usually calls me at 7 in the morning to let me know that there's a plane delay. Let's put it this way. I'm the only one I know, other than maybe other customers of Jim's, that brags about his travel agents. He has figured out the travel industry.
We want to hear from you, Texas. Call now on the Southwestern Bell Wireless Sports Talk line and let us know where you stand.
Hitting in that 9th spot now instead of batting leadoff. Seems to prefer it, says he'll stay right there for now. Welcome back to Sports Talk. I'm Tony Martinez here with Andy Moog. And Bad Radio's Bob Sturm. Now, why is it Bad Radio? Because I think it's pretty darn good.
It's a crazy acronym. Bob and Dan.
Bob and Dan.
Yeah, it's wacky.
Well, we really enjoy your show, and good to have you with us. Andy, let's talk a little bit about the mentality of a goalkeeper during the playoffs. It is such a job of focus. How does that change during this time of year?
If anything, it probably becomes a little bit easier to focus visualizing on one team and one type of attack and one certain offensive player. Probably a little bit easier over a 7-game series to focus. And also, I think a big factor is a lot of the distractions that may occur during the course of the season, whether it's related to travel or schedule, they're eliminated from the picture as well. It's quite a lot easier for a goaltender, as any player is, to focus on the task at hand. Unfortunately, the attention and the pressure or the intensity of the situation is greater as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, in regards to the current situation, we were talking about Roman Turek all season. I mean, here's a guy who has a nice professional resume, had a great season, but had never played 1 second of playoff hockey. How much has that changed? Your throat tighten up? I mean, the nerves got to be the big difference come playoff time.
Roman's said and done all the right things through the course of the season, and you know, my hat's off to him for such a terrific season as the #1 guy in St. Louis. But saying and doing the things are two different things, and he was trying to convey the feeling that he was composed and it wasn't any different than a regular season, but you can't really experience it, you can't really know until you experience it, and I think he's got a taste for it. I think there's several goals in this series to date that Roman would like to have back, but he's in a situation where he wins 1 game and he pushes his team on to the second round, and that's about where you want to be.
This is a rare opportunity for the fans to talk to Andy Moog, so let's go right to the phones. We have Greg and Alan, or I guess it's Greg and Alan. It's not Alan and Greg, is it? You're on the air with Coach with all the players here, especially Andy Moog. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, I was wondering, I'm really intrigued by the San Jose-St. Louis series, and but the goaltending was so poor yesterday for San Jose. I was wondering if it's gotten into Steve Shields' head. Do you think they would ever decide to go with their backup goaltender, Andy Panda?
You know what? They don't have a backup goaltender with any type of credentials at all. This young player, Nabokov, may be an NHL player someday, but I don't think it's even close to a decision with regard to the coaching staff. Shields is the guy. He carried him through this bulk of the season. He played so well they were able to move out Mike Vernon. I'm thinking right now they might want Mike Vernon back, but that's that's a second thought or hindsight. He's the guy. He's going to be the guy for a long time in that organization. Let him run with it. Yeah,
it's hindsight, but even at the time, did it make a lot of sense? I mean, here's a team that looked like it had the players. They were underachieving, but boy, sending Vernon to Florida and sending a guy who's won Stanley Cups.
Absolutely.
I thought that was nuts when they did it, and I'm still wondering, even though I know Shields is their guy.
Yeah, character wins, and you can't knock the character of a guy like Todd Harvey and getting Todd Harvey into the program, but giving up that depth in a crucial position of goal is real tough to do.
Matt in Dallas, you're on with Andy Moog and Bob Sturm. Go ahead.
Hey guys, am I on?
You are. Go ahead.
Hey, it's good to talk to you guys. Great show. I enjoy watching it.
Thank you.
Hey, I have one question about the Stars' third line. Sturm, you probably know the answer to this. Do you all think they'll mix Mike Minton into it?
No, I kind of doubt it. No, they're pretty happy with the third line, the way it's working right now. With Carbonneau, and you have Keane, and, they had Sloan out there skating today. I saw you guys had some footage of that. He's got the big face situation going on. But they've been mixing Mahler in as well, and what that was on Friday was a full resume of Montreal Canadiens captains, and you know those guys have got some miles on their tires. I mean, they've seen everything. They're not going to get rattled by being up a goal trying to protect a lead in their own end. I mean, that's the insurance line right there. They're not going to light you up, but they're going to be just fine.
Well, especially after what Carbonneau did in the last series, I think Hitch is now starting to put the lines together, the players who want to play together. Why does he keep these lines so at odds almost with each other during the season until he finally comes into the playoff situation where he can mix them the way he wants to like this?
I think he's fortunate. I think he's got enough players in that group of third and fourth line players that are willing to adjust and adapt to any situation. He's in a very fortunate situation. He can mix and match, and he won't ever get a drop-off in performance. People have to be on their toes. They have to be prepared to go in any situation.
It really is a motivational thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Keep on their toes.
And it's maddening for the fans to watch. I mean, I know it drives me nuts sometimes because it's amazing what and I think they have three real good offensive players traditionally in Modano and Hall and Neuendijk. And sometimes he likes to split them all up, and then, then he kind of wonders why Hall's productivity is down. And, he's just playing his games and trying to keep the guys on edge till the pro season gets here. But it's amazing what Brett Hall can do when he's with Joe Neuendijk or when he's with Mike Modano, as he has been this past week.
I want to talk to you about Mike Modano because you've seen his growth over the past few years. Can you talk a little bit about the Mike Modano before 1997 and the Mike Modano that we've seen since then?
Sure, yeah. It's obvious. It's evident to everybody that his intensity level and his play on both sides of the puck is just increased and grown virtually every year, and I think it's all got to do with the way Mike has matured as a person as well. But Mike had that passion, had that intensity on the offensive side of the puck, and you watch him go hard to the net, go hard to create offensive opportunities. He lacked it on the defensive side, and I think if anything has occurred over the course of the last 3 or 4 years is he's got that type of intensity all over the ice for 60 minutes, and there's no question in my mind that he's an elite player in the game because he's dedicated himself to the team aspects of the game, which is predominantly defense.
Yeah, I think Andy summed it up perfectly. I mean, there's such a thing as an all-star in this league, which is different from a superstar. And I think Modano's been an all-star for several years, but to be a superstar is just a different level altogether. You're talking about the top 5 to 10 players in the league, and I'm not sure Modano always fit there. But in the last, 2 years especially, and what we saw last spring from him, and then the way he really carried this team this year when a Neuendijk was gone and a Lettinen was down and a Hall was having a bad year. I mean, Modano carried this team all season long, and I think you can definitely see that he's stepped up from being an all-star to a superstar.
Yeah, Hitch talked about it earlier in the brief time he was on. He mentioned how Mike is able to fight through the adversity that comes, and he's a targeted guy. Every team out there sets a checker on him or puts their best defensive pair against him, and he's had to fight through that adversity. And quite frankly, early in his career, he wasn't prepared to do that. But it's not a discouraging factor for him to see the best 2 defensemen on the ice against him every shift.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about your career now with the Brahmas and what you're doing with the professional team. So let's take a break and come back, talk to Andy Moog for one more segment. Take some more of your phone calls and emails. You know that phone number, 214-787-1001. Call us, and we'll take your call when we come back here on Sports Talk.
The 2000 Ford Explorer. If you're out to get a new SUV, then you should know Explorer not only outsells the competition, it outclasses, outpowers, outmaneuvers, and outmatches them outright. To get low 3.9 financing and 500 cash back or 1,000 cash back on Explorer, or to get 3.9 financing on Expedition, stop by Ford Outfitters at your Texas Ford dealer today and find out why Ford is the best in Texas.
At TXU, we harness energy. Then you set it free. We're pretty good together. TXU. Go, world. Go.
And welcome back to Sports Talk, our final few minutes here with Andy Moog and Bob Sturm. Good to have you both with us. Andy, tell us a little bit about how you were able to basically divide your time this year between your goalie coaching duties and working in Fort Worth with the Brahmas.
Well, firstly, my commitment with the Vancouver Canucks as their goaltending coach is 10 days a month, and it can be spent the entire time in Vancouver, or on occasion go to the minor league affiliate, which is in Syracuse, New York, in the American Hockey League. So I'll work with the goaltenders in both those teams and just be on call more than not. But 10 days a month, and that frees up the rest of the month to be involved with the Brahmas and help out on virtually every side, whether it's the hockey department or whether it's front office.
But there's nothing like being in the game, is it? I mean, there's something special about being in the thick of it, especially this time of year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's in my blood, and it'll never get out of there. I've come to find out over the last year or two that there's certain things about the game that I really enjoy and I want to get back to, and this goaltending coaching position offers me that.
Mm-hmm. And Bob, what's the difference between doing the show on radio and television? I mean, is there really that much difference, or is it pretty much the same?
Nah, you just gabbing about sports, right?
Just bad radio on television, bad radio on radio.
Piece of cake, right?
Absolutely. Any final thoughts for Andy?
You know, I had to have been a good time with Vancouver this year with a great run they made at the end, and they got to be feeling pretty good about where that situation's headed there too, huh?
Yeah, you're right. They've got a great crop of young forwards, and there's a hockey publication out there that rates the young talent in an organization, and the Canucks were rated among the top in terms of young talent growing in the organization, so they've got a very bright future.
Well, this show, we really appreciate you guys coming on. It gives us a bright future. We really thank you for being on. Andy, have you back sometime?
My pleasure.
Bob, we expect you back at least once every couple of weeks.
Be my pleasure.
Bring all your bad callers with you.
All right, I will.
Good to see you guys. Thank you very much. We're going to be back with our parting shot when we come back, so stay with us.
The best-kept secret in furniture and fabrics is out. Childress Fabrics and Furniture is a family-owned business serving North Texas for over 40 years, specializing in furniture, fine fabrics, draperies, wall tapestry, custom pillows, elegant upholstery. Tired of paying high North Dallas prices? Stop by Childress Fabrics and Furniture. If we don't have what you're looking for, we'll build it at Childress Fabrics and Furniture. We want you to be a customer for life. Call us at 821-4444.
This is your credit union informational update brought to you by Resource One Credit Union. Resource One Credit Union has been helping to fulfill the financial needs for its members since 1936. A commitment to customer service and reaching out to the community makes Resource One Credit Union a company who cares. Learn more about credit unions and the difference they can make. Log on to r1fcu.org to find out what this organization can do for you and your company.
Are you tired of spending a fortune on a round of golf and it taking 5 hours to play? Well, at Cross Timbers, we bring you back to nature and great golf, where it doesn't take all day to play. Most importantly, we don't slosh your pocketbook. Beep, beep. Located just outside of Fort Worth, 8 miles north of Loop 820 on Jacksboro Highway. Enjoy breathtaking Texas views and bent grass greens to die for. Don't get sand trapped with the other guys. Call Cross Timbers today to reserve a tee time and ask about the Roadrunner Scramble Special every Thursday at 1 o'clock.
And welcome back to Sports Talk. It was great having you with us today. Hope you enjoyed visiting with Andy Moog and Bob Sturm of The Ticket. Tomorrow should be another great show. Cowboys singing special teams coach Joe Avezzano is going to be here. He's going to bring with him Cowboys backup quarterback Mike Quinn. The big thing, though, is we're going to try to get Joe drunk a little bit before the show, see if he can give us the scoop on the wedding that he was at Saturday, Emmitt Smith's wedding Saturday in downtown Dallas. That's tomorrow night on Sports Talk. Time now for our parting shot, and for that I got to turn to this camera. So here we go. You know, for the last decade, David Stern has been hailed as the next Pete Rozelle, pro sports best commissioner since Rozelle himself led pro sports kicking and screaming into the television age. A typical league-generated press release credits Stern for bringing the league unprecedented visibility and prosperity since he took over as commissioner in the mid-'80s. In truth, Stern is no better than Bill Cartwright or Bill Wennington, bit players who drafted behind Michael Jordan and won championships in the process. David Halberstam, in his book Playing for Keeps, points out that while Stern wanted to promote team concepts in the great marketing game, the league changed its own rules by making Jordan the first player with his own shoe contract. So now, 2 years after he hit the jumper to end his career with a 6th championship ring, the league cannot figure out why ratings are depressed by 24%. Here's the reason: they brought it on themselves by making Jordan the only show in town. And now that he's gone, the league is going through Jordan denial. The league needs to relax and stop with this next Jordan stuff. Vince Carter's shooting yesterday is proof that he's not the next Jordan. Neither is Grant Hill or Allen Iverson or anybody else. When Babe Ruth passed his prime, wise writers like Shirley Povich wrote that baseball would never walk that way again. Maybe we can learn something from our past, because it's time someone figured out that there was only one Jordan and there's only one Ruth. The NBA won't get well until Nike and the rest of us just accept it. That's Sports Talk for tonight. Hope you had a good time. We'll see you tomorrow with head coach, special teams coach, Joe Avazano. Bye-bye.
Promotional consideration for North Texas Ford Sports Talk has been provided by Smith Limousine, the ultimate in luxury transportation, and by Lombardo Custom Apparel, America's finest custom clothier.
Hi, I'm John Boyd, and I work for the Allen, Texas Fire Department. Here at the station, we work 56 hours a week in 24-hour shifts. So we don't have the normal 8-to-5 job that others do, and we're so busy with training and maintenance, let alone making emergency calls. We rarely have time to sit down and watch, a full 30 minutes or an hour of news. When I do find time to watch the news, I turn on TXCN. It's news that affects me because it's where I work and it's where I live. I think it's great that there's a station that's just dedicated to the local news. They'll carry a lot of things live that some other stations don't have the time for, like press conferences and special announcements. The news is always on 24 hours a day, just like we're here 24 hours a day. It's great to be able to turn to the news that just focuses on Texas.
Ready?
Not.
Ready?
Not.
Your body's been ready for quite some time.
Not.
Ready?
But not your mind.
Ready?
Not.
Ready?
No way.
You have lots to do before you have a baby. But don't forget to take folic acid today and every day to prevent birth defects one special day. So when all of you is ready, that baby of yours will be ready to take on the world.
Ready?
Not.
Ready.
From WFAA-TV, the Dallas Morning News, and the state's most trusted news organizations, this is TXCN.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Michael Ray. Deanna has the evening off. Coming up on Texas Cable News Prime.
Lots of people are walking around with heart disease and don't know about it.
Baseball legend Nolan Ryan proves even a champion's heart can have trouble when history works against it. It was back to the bargaining table for Lockheed and the Machinists Union. We'll tell you what, if any movement was made to end the current strike. And should the homeless be required to have a little consideration for others when it comes to asking for money?
You're watching the first 24-hour news station in Texas for Texans. This is TXCN, Texas Cable News.
Family members say they expect Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan to make a full recovery from his emergency bypass operation over the weekend. Nolan Ryan's doctors and sons held a news conference tonight to update his condition. It was evident that everybody's in good spirits tonight, including Ryan himself.
He is doing much better. He did get up a little while ago out of bed and walk for the first time down the hall, and he was feeling real good. Unfortunately, he was passed by an older lady in the hall who'd been in here 4 days, and so I think whatever strides he thought he was making, he looked back for a second. But really, he's in good spirits.
I was actually laying on my couch, and they called me and said, Nolan Ryan's laying on the cath lab table with the left main. I said, yeah, right. But then they said, no, really, he is. And so I came down, and sure enough, we looked at the pictures, and it was a pretty concerning-looking lesion. Even after giving him some dilating agents into the coronary arteries, he still had a pretty significant lesion in that artery.
The news of Ryan's illness came as a surprise to baseball fans everywhere. WFAA-TV's Janet St. James reports that while Ryan is generally healthy, he is fighting his genes and a family history of heart disease.
He struck him out swinging.
When Nolan Ryan retired at the age of 45, he'd played longer than anyone in Major League history. Ryan has long been a role model for clean living and a healthy lifestyle. Doctors hope this medical challenge will make even more people take notice that there's a reason heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States.
Certainly, I hope it raises awareness that we all are at risk. In the United States, it's probably a result of our genes as well as our bad habits, and certainly even people with good habits develop heart disease. So I think it's a good reminder to us all.
In fact, UT Southwestern cardiologist Thomas Andrews says even Nolan Ryan, in seemingly excellent health, can't escape his genes, a family history of heart disease, and the fact that he's male. Doctors say until he had chest pains and shortness of breath, he couldn't have known he had a major artery blockage, like the thinning seen in these arteries. Doctors say Ryan was lucky to have any symptoms at all.
About 1/3 of the time, patients, the first manifestation of heart disease is a heart attack or dying suddenly. So certainly lots of people are walking around with heart disease and don't know about it, and that's an area that we're trying to investigate here at UT Southwestern.
In fact, UT Southwestern is launching a major survey this summer in Dallas to find out more about who's at risk for heart disease and what they might have in common. Right now, the best way to detect heart disease is an angiogram, and sometimes exercise stress tests can pinpoint it. But frankly, those tests aren't good enough to stop this silent killer, and a lot of people hope Nolan Ryan's heart disease will refocus attention on this important research. Janet St. James, Texas Cable News.
Friends of Al Lipscomb are calling for the impeachment of federal judge Joe Kendall. Supporters marched in protest outside the Dallas Federal Building this morning.
We want justice for Al. We want justice for Al. We want...
Thursday, the judge is set to sentence the former Dallas City Councilman on charges of bribery and conspiracy. Judge Kendall enraged Lipscomb's supporters when he accused him of faking his illness to avoid a sentencing hearing and had him moved to a federal prison hospital in Fort Worth. Protesting their client's 30-year sentences, lawyers for 4 Branch Davidians want the U.S. Supreme Court to reverse that punishment. At stake is a federal firearms law. The 4 had an extra 30 years added to their 10-year sentences for the manslaughter of federal agents during a botched raid on the Davidian compound. Also today, the federal judge presiding over the Davidians' wrongful death lawsuit said a review of infrared video made in the final hours of the Davidian siege do not show muzzle flashes. He says experts have concluded the flashes were most probably sunlight reflecting off debris. The American Civil Liberties Union is already promising it will fight any attempt by Houston officials to impose rules of civility on the city's homeless population. Today, officials held a public hearing on that question. Supporters of the ordinance want panhandling prohibited near bus stops, automated teller machines, parking meters, and Enron Field. Critics say the rules would open the door for police to harass the homeless. A federal mediator is now trying to help bring an end to a 2-week-old strike at the Lockheed Martin plant in Fort Worth. While strikers returned to the picket lines, union representatives met with Lockheed representatives today for only the 2nd time since the strike began. Neither side has spoken publicly about any progress, but Lockheed representatives say they are anxious to get machinists back to work before launching F-16 production on a major order for the United Arab Emirates.
We're not replacing anybody, but we have some salaried people and some supervisors who have done similar tasks in the past and who have the right certifications or can be brought up to certification very quickly.
Stout stresses that no replacement workers have been hired. Meanwhile, picketers say only a few union workers have crossed the lines. Well, turning to weather, it was a gorgeous day across Texas. Kevin Selly's got the latest look ahead from the Texas Weather Center.
Well, pretty quiet across most of Texas for the overnight period tonight. Some thunderstorm activity may be rumbling across parts of the Panhandle. Take a look at the national satellite animation. We see a storm system pushing southeastward through the central and northern Rocky Mountains. Note the brighter white clouds flaring up in Colorado and pushing out into Nebraska and Kansas. That activity will continue pushing out into the plains, but some thunderstorm activity quite possibly will be developing further southward into the central and northern parts of the Panhandle. But across most of the state, we'll look for a pretty quiet night tonight. Now, that storm system will be passing just north of the state as we go through the day on Tuesday, so it could kick off an isolated shower or thunder shower in north central Texas, mainly north and west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. 78 degrees under partly cloudy skies for the high on Tuesday. In south central Texas, we'll say fair to partly cloudy. 86 overnight after a morning low of 60 degrees. And in the southeastern part of the state, pretty quiet. Fair to occasionally partly cloudy skies with an afternoon high on Tuesday near 86 degrees. We'll stay with us. We'll check the 5-day forecast coming up in just a couple of minutes here at Texas Cable News.
Tonight's forecast is part of Texas weather every 10 minutes on TXCN.
Oh, the Petersons. They're swimming in money. You know, they all have those phones without wires.
Family Talk from Southwestern Bell Wireless.
He has one.
Additional lines just $19.95 a month.
She has one.
Up to 5 lines share minutes on one bill.
Each of the kids have one.
Plus, get a Nokia digital phone as low as $29.
I know. You think they have something better to do than yak on the phone all day?
Family Talk. Only from Southwestern Bell. It's got everyone talking.
My name is Charles Johnson. I work in North Dallas as a DISD campus officer. After I leave here, I get ready for my next job, which is Rayburn Production and Flatfoot Entertainment. So I finish that job. I go to college, which I go to the Police Academy. If it wasn't for TXCN, I probably would fall asleep before I get to see the news when I get home. You don't have to wait, and we don't have time to wait these days. TXCN is the bomb for any artist. Yeah, I got my heart.
Ready?
Not.
Ready?
Not.
Your body's been ready for quite some time,
Not.
Ready?
but not your mind.
Ready?
Not.
Ready?
No way.
You have lots to do before you have a baby. But don't forget to take folic acid today and every day to prevent birth defects one special day. So when all of you is ready, that baby of yours will be ready to take on the world.
Ready?
Not.
Ready.
I'm Bob Olson. I'm the manager of systems engineering here at Amtech.
I'm Paula Wilson, and I'm the recruiter here at Amtech. We're the company that makes the toll tag. I rely very heavily on the Dallas Morning News because it brings me resumes and talent from the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
About 18 months ago, the company I was working for was relocating out of state. My family and I decided to stay in the Dallas area. So I opened up the Dallas Morning News Classifieds and went to the employment section and found myself a new job. It's definitely a great place for high-tech jobs. I'm living proof.
You're watching TXCN, Texas Cable News. Texas News right now.
Coral grown at home in Boise, Idaho may help prevent skin cancer.
TXCN is brought to you by AT&T Cable Services. Tonight on North Texas Ford Sports Talk.
If you haven't seen him, you've probably heard his radio show on the Ticket. Bob Sturm joins us on Sports Talk, one of the hockey experts at the Ticket, to talk about the Stars' defense of their Stanley Cup. We'll be taking your calls and emails. Join us at 7 on Sports Talk.
That's tonight on North Texas Ford Sports Talk. Live at 7, repeat at 11. Only on TXCN Cable Channel 38.
Taking a look at news outside Texas, 5 people, all children, have been shot at the National Zoo in Washington. One child is reportedly in very grave condition. Sources say at least 2 people were shot at the visitor center and a third at the zoo's entrance. There's no word on suspects or an arrest. And the latest now on the Elian Gonzalez case, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee says the committee's staff will start a preliminary inquiry into the use of force during Elian's removal. Senate leaders will be questioning Attorney General Janet Reno Tuesday. The White House says Elian's Florida relatives aren't to blame for the armed seizure of the child over the weekend. The spokesman says the raid would not have happened if the relatives had respected the law and allowed Elian to be reunited with his father. High winds are keeping the space shuttle Atlantis on the ground for at least another day. NASA managers called a scrub because crosswinds kept building at the shuttle landing strip, violating safety rules. NASA says this mission is critical. Astronauts plan to replace failing batteries aboard the International Space Station that are needed to maintain a stable orbit. The shuttle also will use its maneuvering jets to boost the station's sagging altitude. Officials are now aiming for a launch Tuesday afternoon.
Change. Coming faster. Only those with high-tech skills will excel. I'm getting those skills now in the Air Force. It's given me powerful tools, education, training, and experience. With Air Force skills, I can keep up with tomorrow's changes, and so can you.
Now's your chance to speak up and be heard as Texas Cable News invites the voice of public opinion. Give us a call at 214-977-4644. Tell us what you think about Texas Cable News. Share story ideas. Our phone-in line is now open, and we want to hear what you have to say. Call 214-977-4644 and let your voice be heard. Texas Cable News. Texas News right now.
The best kept secret in furniture and fabrics is out. Childress Fabrics and Furniture is a family-owned business serving North Texas for over 40 years, specializing in furniture, fine fabrics, draperies, wall tapestry, custom pillows, elegant upholstery. Tired of paying high North Dallas prices? Stop by Childress Fabrics and Furniture. If we don't have what you're looking for, we'll build it. At Childress Fabrics and Furniture, we want you to be a customer for life. Call us at 821-4444.
A little extra batting practice.
The powerful Boston Red Sox visit the ballpark tonight through Wednesday.
Well, here's the man who got us through the weekend and in fine form indeed. Congratulations.
Boy, during Sports Talk, I took an opportunity to walk around.
Did you?
Oh, it's just delightful outside. Yeah.
It kind of gives us a little break, doesn't it?
Wait till after the weather, and then you can go out. You don't have anything coming up after, do you?
That will be all I talk to you tonight.
All right, fine. Let me show you the current conditions. 75 degrees. The dew point at 50. Did I mention it's just delightful outside? 41% humidity. North-northeast wind averaging 9 miles per hour. And the barometer has gone up just a little bit since last hour. Take a look around the state. Clear skies for the most part. Yeah, a few clouds here and there, but the temperatures are delightful. Did I mention that part yet? 87 right now, San Antonio, 81 Midland, 75 for Dallas-Fort Worth, and in the Panhandle at Amarillo. Some cloudiness, though, over the Panhandles and on up into the plains. That is masking some thunderstorm activity. In fact, there is a severe thunderstorm watch from just north of Amarillo northward through the Oklahoma Panhandle on to parts of Colorado and Kansas. That will remain in effect until 10 o'clock tonight because of this thunderstorm activity that's pulling out of the Rocky Mountains and onto the plains. Note, for the most part, it is moving generally eastward. Now, we see some development back into New Mexico, and that will likely push across parts of the Panhandle over the next couple of hours. The disturbance causing that thunderstorm activity, though, will be moving primarily to the north of Texas as we go through the early morning hours and then through the day on Tuesday. The heart of it is still back up here in this region. It'll be dropping somewhat southeasterly and moving again to the north of the state for the most part, but there may be just enough energy to kick off a shower or thunder shower, mainly north and northwest of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. A few extra clouds across North Texas as the system moves by. There's not a lot of moisture return. There's not a lot of moisture for the thing to work with, so just an isolated shower or thunder shower. In fact, I'll show you, I don't even have it in the forecast for North Texas. Highs on Tuesday, 70s in the northern half of the state. Southern part of Texas, where you see the orange color, will be in the 80s. All right, here's the 5-day forecast for north central Texas. Didn't put any raindrops on there, but we'll say variably cloudy skies through Tuesday, 55 overnight, 78 for the high. Then warming up, 82 Wednesday, 84 Thursday, 86 by Friday. The next storm system or cold front will be approaching the state and pushing through the middle part of the weekend. We'll leave Saturday dry at this point, but may have to introduce some thunderstorm activity possible for Saturday night or Sunday. South Central Texas, 86 for the next few days, then 90 by Friday and Saturday. Pretty quiet, fair to partly cloudy skies through the next couple of days. Southeast Texas, again, variably cloudy and pretty quiet. 85 for Tuesday and Wednesday, up to 87 for Friday and Saturday. Michael?
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Stick around. We'll try to find something interesting that you might want to tune in for. Like coming up next, our Texas Focus looks at improvements made to 3 of the nation's worst intersections, all of them in North Texas. And coming up in news at 8, an update on Nolan Ryan's condition following that double bypass surgery. Also, the latest on concerns over the North Texas water supply. And Fort Worth continues to make progress in rebuilding efforts after last month's tornado.
The 5-day forecast is part of Texas weather every 10 minutes on TXCN.
Come to Village Ford of Louisville for VIP treatment and very impressive perks like 4.9% financing on the all-new 2000 Ford Focus, $1,000 cash back on the 2000 Mustang, or 0.9% APR plus $1,000 rebate on the new Taurus. And we'll pay your maintenance on select new vehicles for 2 years. Plus, test drive any new vehicle and receive a free home-cooked Texas-sized meal at Black Eyed Pea. Texas-sized deals and a Texas-sized meal from Village Ford of Louisville, I-35 and Valley Ridge, exit 453.
The best kept secret in furniture and fabrics is out. Childress Fabrics and Furniture is a family-owned business serving North Texas for over 40 years, specializing in furniture, fine fabrics, draperies, wall tapestry, custom pillows, elegant upholstery. Tired of paying high North Dallas prices? Stop by Childress Fabrics and Furniture. If we don't have what you're looking for, we'll build it at Childress Fabrics and Furniture. We want you to be a customer for life. Call us at 821-4444.
This is your credit union informational update brought to you by Resource One Credit Union. Resource One Credit Union has been helping to fulfill the